Hey everyone, I want to do a little video on if you're trying to get your adjuster's license or take the adjuster's test. This is for the state of Georgia. I recently just took the test for the second time. I failed the first time. I got a 60. You got to get a 70 to pass. I took the class, the R.S. Thomas class with Al Bing. It was a pretty good class. You're going to take a week-long, I took the week-long online class where you do the Zoom the entire time. It's pretty long and strenuous and pretty boring, but it will help you pass the test. I listened the best I could. Like I said, it was pretty boring, but I suggest you take that class. Al Bing is pretty much a legend in the insurance world. He'll give you practice quizzes and stuff like that. I have a couple right here. There's actually a bunch of quizzes that you'll get throughout the class. He'll go over the answers of some of them that we didn't have time to go over, but he will give you the answers to the quizzes. Make sure you take those quizzes a bunch. That's probably what helped me the most, is just go over those questions, because the adjuster's test has some pretty different questions that aren't on your standard test. And you can memorize everything, but you just can't. You just need to understand the concepts. When you're taking the class through with Al Bing and everything, he's going to go through the PowerPoint presentation. I call it Death by PowerPoint. But he's going to go through it, and he's going to, focus on the highlights of the area that are on the test. He won't give you test questions from the state of Georgia test, but he will highlight areas that you need to concentrate studying on. So probably my best advice to you is, when you sign up for the class, it's the R.S. Thomas, the class, state of Georgia. I think it was like $250. When you sign up for it, they'll offer you an online, I think it's called examfx.com, examfx.com, where you can take practice quizzes. Those help me more than actually his quizzes that he gives you, and you just go on there and you just knock them out. It goes through all the content, and take those as many times as you can. Those help me a lot. So the class, you have an adjuster's test, and then you have a property and casualty test. The property and casualty is, I think, 130 questions. The adjuster's test is 100 questions. I took the adjuster's one. The class that Al Bing teaches, I almost think there should be two classes, one for the adjuster and one for the property and casualty, because I feel like there was more covered in his class for property and casualty. And when I took the adjuster's test, I was kind of like, we didn't really go over this in the class, but I probably wasn't listening. But probably my best advice to you or to anyone taking this is do the quizzes over and over and over and over and over. I don't care how many times, do them over and over. Definitely listen to him, but take the quizzes. I probably would, if I had to do it over again, I would go take the test, not really study, and go take the test and just figure out kind of what is on the test. And it'll give you kind of an example of what the questions are asking and stuff like that, and then really go study, because you can take the test, I think, as many times as you want. You have to wait like 10 or 15 days after you take the first test. Then after the second time, I think you have to wait like 30 or maybe 90 days. Don't hold me, I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to make this video pretty quick. So do the quizzes, and do the quizzes online. Make flashcards. He will give you, I don't really want to show all the stuff, because you're paying to get this stuff. I'm not going to show you his content that he gives you, but he'll give you a book. I didn't really use the book. I probably should have, but I didn't. When you take the test, after the test, if you fail, you're going to get a printout. I'm not going to show all my information, but it has like a little bar of what content was on the test. It doesn't tell you, it just tells you content area, and some of the stuff you study won't even be on the test. Some of it will be. When I took the test the first time, I got a 60. You're supposed to get a 70. There was some stuff that I really knew that wasn't on the test, that I went back and took it again after I think like 2 weeks. The test had some of the same questions, but it wasn't identical to the previous test. So you just really make sure you need to study. If you pass, you won't get your score. You'll just get a pass. So that's pretty much, and I have no insurance experience at all. I was, police officer before, and I got hired as a private investigator, and I'm working kind of in the insurance world. They're just basically said, hey, you need to get your adjuster's license to kind of help us out with other stuff. So I don't even know anything about this stuff, and it was a different test than I've ever taken before. And you have plenty of time to take the test. When you take it on the computer, you can mark the questions that you don't know or you want to skip, and then at the very end you go back and you knock them all out. So when I started taking it, I didn't know like the first 10 or 15 questions. I just kind of flew through. I was like, I don't know, next. So you fly through it really quick, and then I got to the ones I knew, so I knocked those all out, and then at the very end I had time to kind of go back and think and stuff like that. So you can go through the questions, you can go back, and I think you have 2 hours. So you have plenty of time. When I finished the test, I think I had 30 or 40 minutes left. I went back and I double checked it. They say when you take the test, the first answer that you see that you think is the correct one, go ahead and mark it, because you're usually right on that. It's kind of a pretty tough test. Just like I said, do the quizzes, go over them many times, and like I said, read the question very carefully, because it'll say, of all the following, which one except, or there'll be different stuff like, let me see some of the questions like this. Said this is just the practice quizzes that he gives you. All of the following are true about insurable risk except, stuff like that. So look for those words. There's going to be a lot of times you're going to have to know all the content, and then you're going to have to find the one that's incorrect. So just read over it. But if you have any questions, please comment below. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this by any means. I do recommend the R.S. Thomas class. Al Bing is very helpful. He provides you contact information if you have any questions. The class is pretty boring, but you just knock it out, and you can take it at home. I think he'll eventually, maybe you can take it in person, but I think they're kind of doing the COVID restriction stuff still. So it's best to take it online. You get a couple breaks during the day, and you can just you learn a pretty good bit from it. But like I said, take the quizzes. I did flashcards. Those kind of helped me. That's just kind of how I am. I'm not a very good test taker at all, but I would suggest doing the online quizzes, because those are through a different company. I think it's like Exam, whatever I said, FX, and they have practice quizzes, and you go on there, and they're kind of different than what he offers, and I think those actually help me more than what he offered. But he gives you good stuff too. If you have any questions, just like I said, comment below, and I'll try to respond. Thanks for watching.